Hey, good morning. Today is Sunday, March 29th. And yesterday, I was supposed to do an 80-mile race, a gravel race down in Kansas in the Flint Hills. But because of the corona craziness, that got kiboshed. So, did you see what I did with the alliterations there? And it's early. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out today and do my own self-supported 80-mile gravel ride, which will be kind of fun. I think, although the wind's blowing, which kind of blows. So where I am with this is I also thought I'd take this time to do a little gear review update. Me being the person who loves gear and loves researching it. Really like the Top Fuel that I have, but ended up going a little deep in the weeds, did some research, and ended up buying a Trek Checkpoint. It's a basic carbon fiber, so to me I feel the basic meaning it has a Shimano 105. I think I got the best bang for the buck for that. Really nice bike, love it, really enjoying it. And narrowed up the tires just a little bit on there. And then I've also put on some old aero bars. I used to do Olympic triathlons a long time ago, and geared it all up. So some of the additional things that I've added is I recently added this thing. It's called a shock stop suspension. There you go. Where are they? There we go. Let's buy those guys. And I got to tell you, the first couple of bigger training rides I was doing 40, 45, and 65. And getting on these constant roller coaster grades of up and down, but they're all washboarded out. And man, just cooked my wrist out. So I've gotten this, and I think it's going to be a big help. Took a little bit of figuring out how to get it in there. Had a couple of little bitty issues, but they've been great. Actually, they've been very helpful. So very happy with that so far. Got my feed bag, which I do 150 to 200 calories roughly every 10 miles. That's what my coach has me doing. And I try and I take an electrolyte tablet because I can't seem to do those fancy fizz waters very well. Messes with my belly. And then I have some ibuprofen. And for me, my little guilty pleasure is I have some jelly beans. It's nice sometimes if I just start getting dry. Part of the reason I like this bike is it's a gravel bike, meaning you can have the higher wheels, it's got the right gearing, but I also can carry a boatload of water. Because I literally don't know, with everything being closed, if anything's even going to be open for me to buy water, or how farmers would feel about me in the middle of nowhere trying to see if I could get some water from them. So it's not enough for a full day, but hopefully it'll get me pretty close. And then I've actually used this as my commuter bike in the winter, and I like this because I can put a rack on it as well, and that's been pretty cool. So let's see some other tools that go on here. Ended up buying the Wahoo Roam. Damn, I love this thing, man. This is awesome because I can hook it up to the different bikes, as well as I use Wahoo for my for doing Zwift, for training when it's really crappy out. And but this has been great, and it's nice because you can just switch it from one bike to another. And like so. A little weird kind of cheater thing that I did. I won't say cheater. I actually wrote down the county roads that I'm going to be doing, so that in the event I don't want to get lost on those when I'm completely out there, because there's places where the cell coverage doesn't even happen. And I also have a map. But unfortunately, I'm so old I can't see any of that crap. So then this is the rest of the gear. Shoes, I do have some little toe booties. It's in the high 30s today, so it's not terrible, but it's supposed to get up to the 60s, and it's supposed to be windy as crap, which is frustrating me, but that's all right. So I will have my jacket. I also got these. I forget who makes these. Aftershock makes these, but these are the headphones that you put on, and they actually vibrate on the bone right next to your ear, so you can keep things you can hear. And then I'm going to bring an extra pair of gloves just because I like these, but They're a little light, and I think it's going to be cold. And I use this as a hat and shield. And hey, what's happening, Buddha? All right, so that's where we're going. We're going to ride the spine of the bluffs that go all the way along the Missouri River. And a little intimidated. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. So I will see you in anywhere from probably 6 to 12 hours, and I will give you a little update. Well, if I'm talking. Thanks. So, all right, here's an update on that ride. Okay, truth be told, I was a little nervous about that ride. I like to push the people I work with in my leadership teams and the advisory work. I have a saying that I say that extraordinary lives in the unreasonable. Sometimes you have to be unreasonable. It kind of is a pain in the ass when I have to practice what I preach, but hopefully I always will try and practice what I preach. So with that, again, the ride today was a sort of a do-over, not a do-over, but in place of the ride in Kansas, which is called the Dirty Dahlia. And it was supposed to be an 80-mile hill ride, gravel ride in the Flint Hills of Kansas, but because of the corona chaos, it got canceled. So it was intended to be a training ride. My coach, Coach Amanda, and Swim It, by the way, if you guys need a coach, reach out to me. She's awesome. She does everything virtual, and I will go through a whole setup on that at some point, but she's got me hooked up on Training Peaks, so she sees everything I do. So she'll take it from the computer, it automatically uploads, and then she tells me exactly what the training schedules were. But the big thing today was that she didn't want me to get my heart rate, if I could avoid it, ever over 140. And ideally, if I could keep it more in that 130 to 135 range occasionally, but mostly under 130. So if it meant that I had to slow my cadence way down, she did this with Rika and her running, my wife, with the running, and she was actually able to retrain your heart this way. And I would have called bollocks on that, but it worked really well. And Rika has come full circle out of that now, and she can actually run faster, longer, at a much lower heartbeat. So with this, that meant that every time I started getting my heart rate up, it was just like, okay. So anyway, and combine that with the fact that it was colder than I would have liked today. It was actually colder than I thought it was. And then it was windy as crap this morning. Holy smokes. And just riding on the trails, and we had a full day of rain yesterday, so I had no idea what the roads were going to be like. So, all right, so here is the damage. All right, total ride time on March 29th, 2020, 7 hours and 35 minutes. 82 miles completed, average of 10.8. It's a little slower, but the wind and the gravel and the fact that I couldn't get my heart rate over 135, I will take that all day long. Average speed was 10.8, max speed 33.5. Feet climbed less than I would have expected. I thought I was going to do more, but 5,728. Feet descended 5,793. Right around 1,200 feet. Cadence was lower, but this was really interesting. Keeping that cadence lower, so I actually changed this and programmed my computer so that all I could see was my heart rate, cadence, and mileage. And the reason I did that is I wanted to keep the cadence when my heart rate was in the right zone at around between 85 and 100, 85, 95 mostly. Heart rate, I always wanted to keep below 130 or 135 at worst. And then I would, every 10 miles was my third thing there, so that I could make sure I was consuming something. I would do a Cliff Bar or a Kid Cliff Bar or a biscuit or Stinger is what those are called. And then a salt tablet. And so, but just to have that consistency and also to make sure I was drinking my water. So just so I didn't slip out in the distance. So, but I never had the clock on, so I had no idea. This was training ride specifically around cadence and heart rate. And heart rate was the king on all that. So hit my zones fairly well with where I wanted to be. Temperature started at 33 degrees, which is about almost 10 degrees colder than what I thought it was. I thought it was like, well, I guess 5 degrees. Average was 51, and then at 69 the high. So it really had a big temperature swing. Paused it for 33 minutes where I found a place in a little bitty town at the Dollar General where I could get water and some pretzel bites. Yep, and I found another place I could go to the bathroom. So, but other than that, it was really, really amazing how the shock stop suspension stem, holy smokes, do I love that. My wrists were a little sore, but not bad. So that was good because I was wearing different gloves to start with, but just because it was so cold. But it was amazing how much that really just takes that little bit of curbs the edge on the gravel. But the big takeaway is I had energy. I could have kept going. So I finished at 82 miles, and that's one of the biggest rides I've ever done, particularly in that kind of conditions, because it was muddy, and in some places I had almost 3 inches of gravel, like soft pea gravel, so it was like riding through sand. And then there were places where the wind was so bad, literally I was in the second easiest gear I could be just to keep my heart rate down. I'm like, I must be doing like 6 miles an hour on the flats, when normally I'd be doing 18 because it was so windy and I'm watching my heart rate. So, but by keeping my heart rate lower, I had energy over and over and over and over. It was amazing. Just, it's the same exact philosophy of when Amanda was training us for the ultra marathons. But long story short is it's super powerful. So I would have called this a success. This race would have been a little early, so we were kind of rushing to get to this point. But what it means is on that road to Leadville, that's the ultimate goal. I've got another 5.5 months. So to be at this point going into that, pretty decent. I'm pleased with the progress, and I think it's the right direction. So I did get notification that the team I'm on is going to stop doing all the support work that they do. So I'm not sure if the race is going to happen or not. But I talked to a friend of mine out there, and he was very, very clear, saying, well, keep your butt in the saddle and I'll drag you around out there. So I may end up having to do a default race out there for Leadville, but I'm going to keep on keeping on. So with that in mind, again, when you can, dream big. That sounds silly, but you know, to have my prosthetics, there were times where I almost got weepy-eyed just thinking, holy smokes, I'm getting away with this shit. At 52, I'll be 53 in a few months. And it's just extraordinary. So be extraordinary. Thank you.